So this is Allegory of the Cave by Plato. Plato's retelling the story as told to him by his teacher, Socrates. Everything we know about Socrates was written down by Plato, two great global philosophers from world history. So Plato is telling us this. This is a dialogue between Socrates and one of his other students. And what we have is a setup scenario where prisoners are born into the world deep down in a cave beneath the surface. The prisoners are chained. They face one direction, which is the cave wall straight ahead. The chains are so tight that they cannot even turn to their side, certainly not turn around. They have no concept of what's behind them. All they see is the cave wall in front of them. This is all they know. This is all we know. We are the prisoners born in the cave. So behind us sits a roaring fire. Above and beyond these flames is a platform, a kind of bridge or walkway where the puppet masters hold up puppets and statues in the form of various elements of nature. There's a tree, there's a bird, a tiger, a lamb, and all of these different elements are projected onto the wall like the fake monsters you would project in a campfire if you were out at night making all kinds of shapes and things. We see the shadows of the statues and the puppets, and we believe those visions are reality. Of course, our senses fool us. Shadows and illusions. This is what we're actually looking at. It's really all we know sometimes, maybe most of the time. So, what happens next in the story is Plato releases one of these prisoners. The prisoner is now able to get up, is unchained, able to look around and see the statues and puppets that are behind him. But once more, they're fooled because he thinks he is now looking at the real tree, the real bird, the real tiger. We know he's just staring at another layer of reality, the puppets and statues that imitate the real thing. To see the truth, he must crawl out of the cave to the surface of the planet. So there's no holding him back. Now, Plato's going to take him up to the top. The prisoner is bound to come out. Sometimes he wants to crawl out on his own, hungry, curious, eager. Sometimes he's dragged out against his will, sometimes on accident, sometimes for his own good. But you're going to come out of that cave eventually. So we only really see what we see in front of us. When we're in the forest, we see the individual trees right before us, but we don't see the whole of the forest. It's very much the same way, this allegory of the cave. When we're far away, we can see the forest as a whole, but we can't see the individual trees. We can't see the details of the bark and the leaves. So from afar, we don't really know much about those individual trees, what they look like, or anything else that's going on in those woods. We don't even know what's going on in the next room, really, do we? So there's a lot we don't see. There's danger out there. There's good things. There's bad things. We don't see any of them really. We would need a microscope. We would need a telescope. These are things we can't measure with the eye. Our senses fool us. That is the lesson of the allegory of the cave. So we're all in this cave. We're born there. The puppet masters that control those puppets and statues, they're the insiders, the ones who control our world. They're the ones with confidence. They're the ones selling something. And even they are inside their own caves and don't clearly see the world for what it truly is. So maybe they're the biggest fools because they think they have something over everybody else, but eventually, they're in a deep dark cave as well. So when we think about the allegory of the cave, it's a dialogue between the two, the student. They're going back and forth. There's asking questions, and eventually this prisoner is able to turn around and go out to the surface, up to the surface, and now once they're out of the cave, they're going to come out and see the real thing, the tree, the bird, the tiger, the lamb. And we know, of course, the prisoner is still looking at just another layer of illusion. So we have to adapt also to the sunlight, years of darkness. Now you're out, you're not in the cave anymore. So sun is bright, our eyes are blinded. We need that time to adjust. And the truth hurts. That sun hurts. It's difficult to deal with the truth at first. It's hard to face it. So we must adapt to the new realities around us. This is a tough adjustment. It's a tough thing to accept, especially when you've been deceived with shadows. So eventually, the former prisoner's eyes adjust and they see the world for what it is, and they see these things. And now they're going to look at these real things and they're going to wonder, is this yet another illusion? Will we wake up years later, somewhere down the road, to find out this is all a dream and another farce? How do we live with such suspicion and skepticism? We question whether there is another level of reality, another layer of truth. How many layers can we peel back before we get to the truth? So think about the layers in your life, the crowds you surf between, the lines and borders you walk. Now our former prisoner is going to be a critical thinker. A true education brings us out of the cave, whether it's self-education or a formal classroom, as long as it gets you thinking about the world around you. We're not going to live in paranoia, but we're going to ask healthy questions about the things we're told and the things we're expected to just accept. It's very much like the movie The Matrix. At the end of the film, we don't really know if he's in the real world or in the Matrix anymore. It's all about reality versus illusion. We're slaves bound to a society set up by others. It's like The Wizard of Oz. There's yet another film. The Wizard of Oz, they're all looking for something they already have. They're on a journey to find the wizard because they think he will give them what they need. The Scarecrow wants brains. The Tin Man needs a heart. The Lion desires courage. Dorothy just wants to go home. They believe the wizard will grant them their wishes. So they're on this yellow brick road to find this grand godly wizard who eventually sends them on a quest to find the Wicked Witch. Even after the wild chase for the witch's broomstick, they still believe. And in the end, when they arrive back in Oz, it's Toto the dog, the animal, that goes over and pulls open the curtain, revealing the wizard for what he truly is, just another human, a little man on a stool pulling levers behind a thick curtain of illusion. And he's talking into a microphone to sound big and powerful. This revelation enables Dorothy and friends to turn around, see the shadows behind them for what they are, statues and puppets. The wizard actually admits that, hey, all the things you were seeking were right there within. They're inside of you. You have them. You don't need to go anywhere externally to find those gifts. Brains, heart, courage. It's all right there inside of you, right? If you want to go home, all you need to do is click your heels. So it's as simple as that. The internal gifts we take for granted, they're drawn out of the cave and then thrust out into the light of the day. In the end of the story, they all find themselves. And Dorothy wakes up from what we learned was all just a dream. So, of course, Dorothy's whole dream was an allegory in itself. So you'll see the allegory of the cave in books, films. You'll see it all around you. Are you going to look? Right? So you look out there, you see that once that former prisoner is out of the cave, you really can't go back. You can't go back to the past. You can't go back to high school. You can't go back to middle school. You can't go back to childhood. You can't go back to old relationships most of the time. Plato describes how the former prisoner, so excited about this new world of reality, wants to go back down into the cave and share this truth with family and friends. And they've seen the real thing. They've gone up and touched the tree. This is the real tree. They really feel confident now after a little bit of suspicion. After testing it, they can really confirm that this is it, and they want to go share that. That's exciting. So what do you think happened? The prisoner is going to go down and try to tell them. And when he gets there, he tries to tell them what they're all looking at is really just an illusion. It's a shadow. and he's met with resistance. He's ridiculed, he's violently opposed. Instead of acceptance, he is alienated. And, they're going to say, who do you think you are telling me that what I see in front of me isn't reality? You left the tribe and now you come back here like some kind of big shot, right? He can't go back. He can't go back to the old neighborhood. The way somebody who gets really successful can't go back to the poor neighborhood they grew up in. That's difficult. Um, you'd be torn to shreds, right? In some cases, you just can't go back to that old environment. So the former prisoner, now free, is shunned. Once this happens, you have to go forward. Don't ever go back. It's been the death of some. So all of us live in this bubble of a cave. We don't see what others on the outside see. We don't always hear or see the signs that symbolize meaning in our life. We don't really feel. It might be the relationship we shouldn't be in. It might be the good one we take for granted. Instead, our senses are caught up in immediate gratification. The pizza on the table, the small town chit chat, the bills that need to be paid, a false desire for immortality. We have no recognition of what goes on the other side of town. We don't even know what's going on in the next room. We walk outside and it's a rainy day, but there are beautiful things happening all around. Our senses are constantly fooling us. So to see the truth, again, we need that microscope or telescope to zoom in and out. So sometimes we're dragged out of that cave against our will. Other times it's a conscious choice to stand up, break those chains, exit the cave. Sometimes we stumble out on accident. We experience the cave in our personal lives, in our relationships. Sometimes it's we meet people, we think they're great, and then we're disappointed when they steal from us or ruin our lives, right? We judge other people before we even know them, and sometimes they end up saving our life and being our best friend. It can work both ways, illusion versus reality. No one is really ever out of the cave for good. Just when we think we're out of the cave and we know it all, there's a new darkness to stumble into. No human can know and feel all. Coming out of the cave is a perpetual journey, and there's no going backward. If we try to go back down into that cave, we're shunned, we're alienated, cast away without a home to go back to. We can't be part of that family anymore. We've left the tribe. We must go forward to the light, the sun, the truth. People back in the cave don't want to change. They're comfortable. They sit safely on a sofa of tradition. That's fine for them. They have the right to do so. We won't judge them, but we have to go on our own journey. We only break those bonds when we have the motivation to change, when we want to grow, when we get lucky enough to have an opportunity to do so and recognize it. So the allegory is often used as a metaphor for education, not necessarily formal education, but just the act of learning and opening your mind to something new, bettering your life. Once we're cured of ignorance, the lost bliss is just nostalgia. So the examples of the allegory of the cave are all around us historically, sociologically, psychologically, intellectually, personally. Even though Plato wrote down the tale a long, long time ago, the allegory is just as relevant today, actually more relevant than ever in the 21st century, where we're bombarded with the shadows of advertising and marketing, an internet full of layers of illusion, billion-dollar disinformation campaigns, politics, industry, lies, and dollars. The allegory of the cave is alive more than ever.